started? Is that right?
You are at Prep 5. I think this is session. Sorry. I don't really talk quietly. I don't like talking to the mic either. We're in the business analysis session. Today, we are getting together to talk about some experience that we've had and knowledge we have related to business analysis. Hopefully, you're excited about that. I am Carrie Chakowski. I'm from Import. I'm a senior business analyst. Oh, starting off great. Natalie Pajewski, she's also from Import. She's, in addition, a senior business analyst. We have Karen Rees. She is the project director for CalPeers. She's one of our panelists here. she has ample experience. Rebecca Stilling. She is the CIO for Department of Child Services. And Anne Batten. Yes. She is the Enterprise Director over at Department of Child Services. Thanks. So a wealth of experience here for you today to talk about business analysis and ask lots of questions. Our goal here today is for this to be very interactive. We want to give you our experience and answer any questions you have and kind of get a chance for you to talk to each other about being business analysts and what you think a business analyst is or should do. Our goal is for this to be a very interactive experience. So some of the topics we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about your very generic definition of a business analyst and what we think some of the objectives of a business analyst are. We're going to talk about our own experiences with projects and how they've suffered and what, as a business analyst, we've had to do or should have done to make the project better or to avoid problems. Our panelists are going to talk about what makes a good business analyst, the qualities of a strong business analyst, the values a business analyst can provide to a project in each phase of the project, and some of the skills and tools a business analyst can use to help a project through some of the important decision-making processes that are a part of the project. About midway through the session, we'll start our scenario session, where we will actually each do a scenario, a real-life scenario, and talk about how best to handle that situation. And at the end, we'll wrap up with some ways to improve some skills, some ways to improve your skills as a business analyst, or if you have business analysts that work for you, how you can help improve their skills. Use the paper if you use them. So, what is a business analyst?
I get to talk now. Hi. Carrie and I aren't professional speakers, as you can see. We are the delivery people, so please bear with us. I have my degree in math, not in communications. Basically, this is, if you're familiar with the Project Management Institute, there's also an institute, an International Institute for Business Analysis, and this is they have a FABOC, and it actually provides certification on becoming a business analyst. This is how they define business analysis. So Carrie and I have decades of experience coming into different organizations that we basically know nothing about when we get there. And we understand that we have to gather information as quickly as we can so that we can be liaisons for the stakeholders to the project team. So here's the definition, and we're bringing knowledge to support decisions for the management of a project or any of the decision makers in the project. That's right.
You know, computer technology. There we go. I broke it already. So I'm a good tester.
So from my experience, this is how I see or from MCorp's experience as well, this is how we see the objectives of a business analyst. So a business analyst is brought in to ensure that all the stakeholders, the project team, so they understand the business and the project. So here's some examples of the things that a business analyst would want to come up to speed on: the organization, the processes that are involved in the project, performance metrics, expectations of the project, expectations of the stakeholders, estimations as far as when things have to be done, things like that. The objectives of the project, the strategy for the organization, any dependencies such as legislative mandates, other projects that are going on that might cause a dependency of the project. Volatility of the environment. Is the environment changing quite a bit? The scope of the project, and of course the needs or requirements and the issues and opportunities that you'd like to realize. The business analyst also ensures that the project delivers a quality solution that supports the business, addresses the needs and objectives that were defined for the project, and is successfully transitioned into the organization and organizational culture. So I think some of our keynote speakers mentioned that process is a big thing. Your processes are usually aligned to your capabilities, technically, and so if you're implementing a new solution, new technology, then you'd have to modify your processes to align with that so you have an efficient environment.
So that's really the technical definition of a business analyst. And you can take business analyst classes, you can read books and get a lot of details about what it really means to be that business analyst and all the nitty-gritty of that sort of technical business analyst. What I really want to do today is talk about our experience, because that's what we have. I mean, that's the value, I think, of this group, is that you have probably 50, 60 years worth of experience as running big projects. Just between Nellie and I.
Nice city. Very nice.
So that's what we want to talk about, is our experience. So the next slide I wanted to go through is the reasons why projects suffer. Hopefully the rest of it shows up. But there are 3 scenarios that happen all the time. A system's built, it gets implemented, all the users do is complain. It's not what I wanted, it doesn't do what I need. If anybody watches Seinfeld, it turns into Festivus. All they're going to do is complain. The second scenario, you build it, it is exactly what they need. It meets their needs exactly. But they still don't like it. They still don't use it, and it goes nowhere and it dies. You're rebuilding it again the next year. Third scenario, it dies before it gets started. It goes nowhere. You maybe get through the requirements if you're lucky, and it sort of dies on the vine. There's many, I could spend hours going through many reasons why that is. We brainstormed, came up with 8 that I see all the time. The business analyst role wasn't included or defined well in each phase of the system development lifecycle. That's the implementation, planning, requirements, design, development, testing, implementation, and lessons learned. Business analysts, we'll talk more about this as we go through the session today. They have a role in every single step of that process. Things like development, you think, what is the business analyst doing? It's a black box. Development, they can go to sleep. No, they can't. As you know, things change in development. There's a design issue that maybe you thought was going to work one way. When they go to build it, it works another. The business analyst needs to be on top of that. They need to be managing that change from everywhere from the developer all the way through the subject matter experts and forward into change management to make sure that they're ready for that changed expectation. So your business analyst needs to be active all the way through the process and ideally consistent. Business analysts use a static approach versus a dynamic approach. I see that a lot with projects that sort of that die on the vine concept. As a business analyst, you can come in and you can be essentially a note taker. That's a static approach, and that's valid on some projects. Sometimes you come into an organization that has exactly what they want already thought out, already thought through, and your job is to translate it so that development can then take their business requirements, build a design, build a system. That's a very static approach. Sometimes you go into an organization and they don't know what they want yet. They have a vague idea of where they want to go, and you have to help them get there. So you have to take a very active, a very dynamic approach in that you're going to have to figure out, who do I need to bring in the room to get to the right answer? And what process do I need to use to help everybody get there? So it's a very different style, and it is important to know which organization you're working with, which type of organization you're working with, and who you're working with. Another really big issue is understanding an organization's culture before going too far. An organization has the ability to change only so much. And you have to understand the skill sets of the people in that organization, their ability to get funding to change that skill set if it's necessary. All of those decisions need to be made up front before you go too far, because you can build a system, and if you don't have the right people to support it, it's going to fall on its face. And everybody in this room, I'm sure, has been in that scenario. So understanding what that organization can do is very important and to determining the end solution. Strong management support and sponsor support. That is huge. If you do not have strong management and sponsor support, again, your system's going to die in the vine. As a business analyst, you're thinking, well, that's the project manager's job. They got to do all that. They got to talk to the sponsor. They've got to pull all that together. Business analysts in this room, how many people here are business analysts, by the way? I didn't even ask. Cool. Every one of you, you're responsible for everything. You're the person that gets the job done. So yes, the project manager's there to be your linebacker and clear the way for you, but you're the one with football. You're the one that has to get it done. And so sometimes your sponsor won't be involved or won't be involved enough. So you need to find other management that can carry that torch for you. You've got to be the cheerleader. You can't always count on your project manager to do everything for you. So it's a team effort, and keeping that management support and engagement is everybody's job. Another reason is that key steps in the SPLC were overlooked or rushed. And these are the two places where are my personal, I'll get up on my soapbox, I'm just going to say it. Design and implementation. Business analysts have got to be involved in design. Design is not just architecture. Design is user interface. The way something works will affect whether people like it or use it. You need to be in there, you need to be working with your stakeholders and working through that design process. People rush through it all the time. They get their business requirements, they hand it off to the developer, and then they wonder why they didn't get what they wanted. Because the business analyst wasn't helping in the design. Implementation planning, also, there's so much involved in that, and people don't even like to think about it until they're through testing. This needs to start, implementation starts at the beginning. As soon as you know where you're going, you need to start doing change management. You need to start planning your training. My other soapbox issue. People never put time and effort into training. It's your best change management option. Okay. I'm being crushed. So those are my two issues. Design, planning, people overlook it all the time. As a business analyst, as my fellow business analysts in this room, you need to get yourself in there because you can save a project if you can make sure those two things are done right. Even bad systems that maybe don't even have all the data, if they're designed well and implemented well, people love them. The other thing people need to consider is an organization's authority to do something. So it's sort of that capability, it goes back to that saying, can the organization handle it? But it's not that internal organization's ability to handle it, it's their ability to influence other organizations to adopt something. A perfect situation would be a state organization who's trying to get a county or a local program to adopt something, and you don't have a legal mandate or money to hold over their head to get them to play. It takes a whole different approach, and so you need to understand what's the motivation of my end users to use this system, and how involved do they need to be in the process to get them on board. And in that situation where you are dealing with something that's sort of a voluntary thing, you need them involved at the beginning, you need cheerleaders, it's a much slower and harder process. An organization was not ready for the change. Again, it comes back to the implementation planning, since I've probably already over time, I won't talk about it, but it's basically you need to make sure that you have good change management. You understand the processes as they are and how they're going to change, and you help everybody get there. And manage fear. Everybody's afraid of change, including me. And another big issue is an organization that has difficulty making decisions. There are some organizations that they have a really good structure, or they're very quick to make a decision. Other organizations have a really hard time, they change their minds a lot. So you have to decide how formal of a decision-making process you need to have, and always, always, always have an escalation path, and document, document, document. So those are the other reasons why projects fail. I shouldn't say fail, suck, because you can survive anything if you work hard enough at it, long enough at it. On your desks is just a quick handout to sort of remind you what we talked about and some ideas for how to avoid some of the problems that we talked about. System development lifecycle, just really quick in case you're not as familiar with it as you'd like to be. It's just initiation, planning, requirements, design, development, testing, implementation, and lessons learned. And again, we'll talk a little bit more as we move forward through the presentation about kind of the business analyst role here.